Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're going to be talking about the D&D bucket list today. You know there's something in D&D that you've always wanted to do, and that's what we're here to talk about. Leave it in the comments if you haven't heard yours throughout the episode, and let's get right into number one. A very obvious one is playing from level 1 to 20. How many of you have actually got to do that? I know for a fact I haven't.
Yeah, it's incredibly uncommon, and there's reasons for it being uncommon, but it's definitely on a lot of people's bucket list. 1 to 20, that way you get to fully experience whatever character you make. Make the character, you learn everything that your character can do, from becoming the class in general to becoming the absolute master of the class in all of the world.
Right. Totally agree. And could you imagine the connection that you would have to that character from hunting and killing your very first boar to like crafting up the leather to make your first armor to literally becoming a king, or who knows, even ascending to a different plane of reality?
And if you were to do this, you'd actually be able to dive into a lot of the monsters that are in D&D. I mean, you'd start by fighting like jellies and goblins, and then you'd work all the way up to orcs, and then entire camps of these creatures. And then eventually you're going to be fighting mind flayers, liches, dragons. You're going to get the whole spectrum.
Right? Giant jellies.
Right. And one more thing, like you mentioned, you would actually be able to experience the full spectrum of starting as maybe a peasant or a commoner and working all the way to the highest nobility in the whole game world.
A real rags to riches story.
For real. One of the things I wanted to do, it's somewhere on my D&D bucket list, is to actually try an entire roleplay only session. And obviously this is only fun for some parties, but I feel like this would be really fun for our group or whatever. And just the whole idea of maybe like anytime you're not speaking in character, maybe the table completely ignores you, or there's some punishment for it even. I say punishment lightly, you know, nothing terrible.
Right. Punishment. Ha, now you gotta drink.
Yeah. There you go. Yep. If you got a drinking party, which many are, obviously, this would be a great drinking game.
And I was thinking this could be pretty fun, especially if some people at your table don't really have a great way to get into character. Maybe you could hand them this. Maybe you could hand them this, and that would help out a lot. A couple of our friends even have like a robe or different kinds of costumes that they're able to use. And, you know, props are just fun to play with.
Yeah. A lot of the times that you wouldn't be able to do this, if you tell your party, hey, we're doing this tonight, you know, maybe they've got an excuse to wear silly props or, you know, go further into role-playing than they normally would.
Right. A fun way that you could have this around the table is everyone talks in character. And it could be super fun to have an in character and out of character voice on the table. So when you're talking out of character in my specific voice right now, nobody on table, as in your game characters, could acknowledge that. And it wouldn't even be able to advance the game if I'm talking in this voice. But I'd have to talk in this voice to be able to tell you that the enemy is coming. You know, anything like that.
Of course. One of the things this might lead to, almost just by accident or incident, I guess, is the idea that maybe everyone at the table will actually become much more immersed in the game. They're actually going to care more about the characters and things like that. So this isn't something you have to do, but if you feel like it'd be fun with your party, it could lead to really good gameplay.
Right. And it's a really good group storytelling activity too.
Yeah, at the very least, it's something I want to try sometime.
For me, level 20 sounds awesome, but it is still kind of limited. At level 20, I can't destroy a planet at level 20. I'm not necessarily gonna be able to like take down a evil pantheon, but what if you could go just a little bit further? Like, let's just say you are actually able to take down the evil god, or maybe the god that you worship. You found out that he's a false god, or somebody else has taken his place, and it's your turn to bring that religion back to its former glory. It could be crazy, and the kinds of literally intergalactic adventures that you could have would be immense. So it's something I've always wanted to try.
For sure. I mean, if you wanted to play a character like Goku, you know he's at least level 40 in D&D terms, right?
Seriously.
I mean, yeah, that'd be fun. The first thing I think of with this is if you're playing a warlock, this is the time where you actually take control, you take the reins, and you become your own patron somehow. Most warlock patrons are kind of bad, so it'd be easy to, you know, make that happen.
That would be so awesome.
That'd be sick.
Could you imagine, like, you build that character all the way up to be a patron, and then your next character is a patron of him?
Oh, that would be super cool. That would be awesome. I don't know how the rules would work past level 20. Honestly, you might just have to throw them away and almost start from scratch in some way. But whatever. It'd be a fun thing to try out.
Yeah, I could see it in a way, like think of Call of Duty for a second, a prestige kind of leveling where you'd have a baseline where it's like, okay, now we have god powers and now we're affecting each other on like the god level. So if we were going to have like mortal damage, our god powers almost immediately negate that. Random idea, who knows?
Right. Whatever you could come up with. It'd be crazy, but it'd be fun. One more thing on my list. I've always loved the idea of playing an illusionist, and I don't think I've ever actually felt the playing out of like the fantasy character of an illusionist. So one of the things I want to do is make a system for illusionists that work. Illusions are one of those things that's like super inconsistent because it's kind of inconsistent with the DM most of the time, and the DMs run the game. So if it's inconsistent with DMs, then it's going to be inconsistent through the game. That's just how it works. So this is something really just takes some time, I guess, between a player and a DM, where this is what I was thinking. Maybe instead of the limitations for certain spells like Minor Illusion, like maybe you can make a creature instead of just objects and noise. Or maybe you can apply a silent image on a moving thing like another ally. Technically in the rules you can't do this stuff, but it's what people that play illusionists really want to do. So
I don't necessarily know the mechanics behind a couple of cool things that I think an illusionist should be able to do, but I should be able to pick up a rock, throw it for the next 90 feet. It should look like a bird coming at somebody. Or I should be able to create a pitfall on the ground, and then somebody should, like, in a way, be able to walk on it once, twice, 3 times, and then they'd fall in it to make it an effective trap. A lot of things that illusionists would be able to do would be masking, like, their entire appearance or the appearance of their entire party to sneak past things. So a lot of those things seem to be really limited, especially when it's a utility use, and most of the time you would want that first, second, third, fourth level, somewhere around there, and you're not even going to get that anywhere near close to like 7th, 10th, maybe a 12th level, and at that point you're outshined by so many other things.
yeah, for sure. Like you mentioned, a lot of the things that you want to do with an illusionist, you can do, but not really until you're like level 14 or higher, which I kind of already touched on it, but most people don't really play to level 14 because things get too crazy and too hectic and it's just wild. So I want to build a system for illusions that isn't OP, but you can actually just do more than the rules let you do, actually.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Right. I feel like Jester. I said actually like at the beginning and end of my sentence.
Something that I've always thought was kind of lame with like actual 5e, but good news, 1D&D is trying to fix that. Who knows? We'll see where it goes. But for now, I've always thought that wild shaping was weird. There should be a difference between turning into something that's a non-lethal wild shape and something that's a lethal wild shape. I should be able to go from bear to rat to escape. And that shouldn't be a like, oh no, he used a spell slot or something. Like, I should have unlimited non-lethal wild shapes. It only makes sense in my opinion because that's the kind of character that I'm trying to create. I wouldn't live in society. I would live in a tree with pigs, with the other pigs or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. Having the ability to only wild shape technically twice between rests and everything else just feels really limiting. I mean, if you wanted to make a druid that is all about just shifting between creatures and stuff like that, the 2 slots for wild shape doesn't cut it. Even if it took removing other features of the class, technically, I mean, this is the extension of what you want your character to be able to do. It'd be like making a ranger that can't use a longbow except for twice.
Yeah, that would be really weird.
Yeah.
There should be somewhat like a double down subclass on wild shape. And a lot of people might point to like Circle of the Moon Druid as that, but like it's kind of a double down on moon stuff, you know? It's not like I'm a beast.
Right.
You know?
Right. You might be able to use stronger creatures then, but still just twice. Obviously, one of the reasons why you get like the full hit point pool of the creature. But again, if you could find some way even to negate that so that isn't the OP thing that makes it not doable, just being able to shift into more creatures than just twice per rest would be great.
Yeah. Honestly, a non-lethal wild shape kind of does feel like the answer.
Yeah, for sure. So that was just one more thing on my list. But the next one is, as a DM, this is kind of a personal thing. As a DM, I would love to be able to just hit the table with a really big reveal of some kind without reacting. I know it sounds silly, and some people are probably just like, that's easy. Listen, I know there's people out there that can relate to this. I just want to reveal a super big, like, this villain murders an NPC or a player, just like right there on the spot. It's a super big deal. I just want to be able to reveal that without cracking or like doing like the face, you know? I just want to just say it and it's done and not crack. I mean, even Matt Mercer, he's kind of good with stuff like this, but even he has a bane.
True.
Its name is Sam Riegel.
He has several shirts.
Yes.
If you've ever seen his Matt Mercer shirts, they get better and better every season.
Every season.
Another kind of fun thing would be your party walks into a bar. You have a gruff minotaur. He serves them a drink. You ask him his name, and his name is Spike Bison.
See, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be able to do that at the table without cracking a smile at least.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it lands so much better if you just sit there like a psychopath and not react at all.
Right.
So it's on my bucket list to be able to just hit big reveals, no reaction. I guess I'll work on it.
I know I probably couldn't keep my cool if I was trying to do puns like the entire campaign. I would just be like cracking up the second I knew one was coming.
Yep, for sure.
So this one might be maybe controversial for some people because a lot of people already say D&D 5e, you are superheroes. You already have the power. You know what I mean? But at the same time, what if there was something a little bit special about everybody at the table that really elevated that type of play? Like your friend was a vampire, your friend was a Lycan, your other friend was like elementally attuned, link in the description. And different kinds of imbues and power-ups that could be attributed to specific characters. And I think it would be kind of fun if my powers were able to shine in a way that didn't outshine the rest of the table because he's turning into a werewolf and he's got a lich powers and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if everyone at the table has something special to make sure that they're not outshining each other, then the DM kind of just has to find a way, just maybe just throw harder creatures at him or whatever else. Like, it wouldn't be too hard to keep the balance of the game as long as every character feels decently balanced amongst each other.
Definitely. And it could truly just be you have a third level group, they now have these power-ups, and you're just running 6th level adventures, something like that. You could obviously gauge it to see where your players are at or how much fun they're having with their like superpowers, but anything that you could attach to that could be awesome lore-wise. I know I want to be a werewolf one day.
Yeah, that'd be sick. And this is one of the only times where you could maybe like give someone the ability to just teleport whenever they want. That can look however you want. Like, you know, you can build the characters however you want to, but just make sure everyone at the table would have something special that you wouldn't normally have.
Right. And, you know, something else is kind of cool, like time powers too. Like one of our friends from our D&D group is actually displaced in time, right? So like, who's to say he doesn't start to develop this like chronomancer power where he's able to like move back 2 or 3 seconds to like avoid an attack, or like maybe he has this like power where he can look into the future just a few seconds so that way he can see what's going on. Or it even could be like some sort of foresight that he starts to develop, but it's like something that everyone could be able to utilize because, you know, he's awesome, the time wizard.
Bro, are you reading my notes or something? What's going on here? Nothing. Don't worry about it. Okay, well, anyway, now that I have to rethink that whole character's campaign in the future and things like that, thanks so much for watching. It was fun to make a list like this, and we might even make more in the future. Or some of the things on the list, like the druid wild shape situation or the illusion system. We might actually make videos about when we develop homebrew systems for that, so others can use it too, especially if it's awesome and possibly better.
Absolutely. And most importantly, guys, what do you want to play? What is your bucket list for D&D?
Yes, if we get enough good comments, we will work hard to make a video to get those on a list too.
You're right. Part 2 coming up.
It'd be fun. So anyway, thanks again for sticking around. We do have merch. We'll leave some stuff in the description for that. Other than that, again, thank you. Like the video if you liked the video. Subscribe, and we'll be out with more videos shortly. So Thank you, and bye.
Bye.